What's up, Ice and Fire fans? Welcome back to the House of Vine podcast and part 2 of the Kevan Lannister P.O.V. breakdown, the Epilogue to A Dance with Dragons. Back in part 1, the chapter began with the small council questioning the Knight of Griffin's Roost, Sir Ronnet Connington, who has been called to court to answer for the crimes of his uncle, Jon Connington. Ronnet tries to reassure Sir Kevan and Lord Mace that he is a loyal subject to the crown. However, words are wind. This is why Sir Kevan has Sir Ronnet placed under house arrest. He is to remain in the Red Keep until Queen Marjorie's trial has concluded. Lord Mace intends to march south to deal with Jon Con and his sellswords after his daughter is proven innocent. They dismiss Ronnet and the council continue with their meeting. Throughout their discussion, it is quite clear Sir Kevan and Lord Mace have differing opinions on how to deal with the problems plaguing the realm, specifically Connington and his feigned boy. However, Jon Con and the Golden Company landing on the shores of Westeros isn't the only problem that the crown will soon have to deal with. Let's continue with the epilogue and listen to Kevan talk about the growing reports of dragons to the east.
We have these tales coming from the east as well. A second Targaryen, and one whose blood no man can question. Daenerys Stormborn. As mad as her father, declared Lord Maester Tyrell. That would be the same father that Highgarden and House Tyrell supported to the bitter end and well beyond. Mad she may be, but with so much smoke drifting west, surely there must be some fire burning in the east. Grand Maester Pycelle bobbed his head. Dragons, these same stories have reached Oldtown. Too many to discount. A silver-haired queen with 3 dragons. At the far end of the world, said Mace Tyrell. Queen of Slavers Bay, aye, she's welcome to it. On that we can agree, Sir Kevan said. But the girl is of the blood of Aegon the Conqueror, and I do not think she will be content to remain in Meereen forever. If she should reach these shores and join her strength to Lord Connington and this prince of his, feigned or no, we must destroy Connington and his pretender now, before Daenerys Stormborn can come west. Mace Tyrell crossed his arms. I mean to do just that, sir, after the trials.
Sir Kevan informs the small council that the growing reports of dragons have finally reached a point where they cannot be ignored. Grand Maester Pycelle states that there are too many stories for them to be discounted. If you remember, back in the prologue in A Feast for Crows, we hear some of these stories in a conversation between Maester Armin, aka Armin the Alkalite, and the novices Pate, Alaris, Rune, and Mullender. Many maesters, all throughout the 7 kingdoms, constantly repeat the company line that magic no longer exists in the world, that all the dragons are dead. So the fact that Pycelle, one of the most senior members in the Order, is finally acknowledging these tales, that's sort of a big deal. Lord Mace, being the dumbass that he is, completely dismisses Dany and her dragons. It's not that he denies the existence of dragons or that there's supposed to be 3 of them, he just says that Dany is more than welcome to stay in Meereen, not believing her to be a threat. Kevan knows this is the dumbest thing the council could possibly do. Ignore Daenerys. She is of the blood of Aegon the Conqueror, he says. He's right in thinking there's no way she'll be content to stay in Meereen. As the reader, we know that although Dany has taken a few detours, her desired destination is ultimately the 7 kingdoms. Sir Kevan doesn't want to waste any time that they should destroy Connington before he can join up with Dany. Now, although it will probably be some time before Dany heads to Westeros, Kevan still has the right idea. If you're a die-hard Ice and Fire fan like myself, that means you've probably read the Winds of Winter sample chapters. In the Arianne chapter, it is revealed that Prince Durin gave his daughter a letter he received from Jon Connington. In it, Connington claims that Elia and Rhaegar's child, Prince Aegon, is still alive, requesting that Dorne raise its banners and join its host to his. Kevan's instincts are right on the money, though the immediate concern shouldn't be Connington and Dany, but Connington and Dorne. Time will tell on how they will handle this. Moving on with the epilogue, The issue concerning the realm's debt is brought up during this meeting when Pycelle suggests paying off the Golden Company. Let's listen to the chapter.
Sell swords, fight for coin, declared Grand Maester Pycelle. With enough gold, we might persuade the Golden Company to hand over Lord Connington and the Pretender. Aye, if we had gold, Sir Harris Swift said. Alas, my lord, our vaults contain only rats and roaches. I have written again to the Meerish bankers. If they will agree to make good the Crown's debt to the Bravosi and extend us a new loan, mayhaps we will not have to raise the taxes. Elsewise, the magisters of Pentos have been known to lend money as well, said Sir Kevan. Try them. The Pentoshi were even less like to be of help than the Meerish money changers. But the effort must be made. Unless a new source of coin could be found, or the Iron Bank persuaded to relent, he would have no choice but to pay the Crown's debts with Lannister gold.
Okay, so we have a lot to discuss after listening to that passage. First, let's talk about Pycelle's proposal to pay off the Golden Company. I could say that Pycelle is retarded for suggesting this, but I'll cut the guy some slack considering we're privy to information that he is not. So, of all the sellsword armies available in the Free Cities, the Golden Company is reputed to have never broken a contract. However, after 82 years of honored contracts, the company breaks their current one with Myr, swears fealty to young Griff, the alleged Aegon VI, then goes on to invade Westeros. Our favorite little lion, Tyrion, questions Magister Illyrio as to how he was able to talk the Golden Company into abandoning the Free City. Illyrio responds by claiming that some contracts are written in ink and some in blood. This quote is one of many when it comes to supporting Phagon theories. Don't forget, the Golden Company is made up of exiled nobles who supported the Blackfires. In my opinion, no amount of gold is going to persuade this company to betray young Griff. To put it plainly, when the company that never breaks a contract to honor some blood oath made by their forebears and decide to follow a boy into war, it's highly unlikely that same company will abandon young Griff. Phagon promises them the holdings of their ancestors, which is a price I'm sure no one on the small council is willing to pay. Next, let's talk about the kingdom's debt to the Iron Bank. We all know that Littlefinger ran up the crown's debt for years while serving as Master of Coin. If you want to learn more about it, I suggest checking out Preston Jacobs' Littlefinger Debt Scheme series. Harry Swift, the new Master of Coin, tells the small council that they have nothing but rats and roaches in their vaults, that he has repeatedly written to the banks of Myr asking them to pay off the crown's debts and to grant them a new loan. There's such a missed opportunity right here. And what is that? Well, first, Sir Kevan suggests that Swift try asking Pentos for help. Kevan thinks to himself that the Pentoshi would be less likely to help them than Myr would be. We learned from the Mercy sample chapter that Pentos must have offered no help because Lord Swift travels to Braavos to treat with the Iron Bank. Oh, just as a little reminder side note thing, the Iron Bank is already looking at other ways to get a return on their Westerosi investments. In the Winds of Winter sample chapter, Theon, the Braavosi banker, Tycho, is brought before Stannis, and the two sign an agreement with Stannis acknowledging the Iron Throne's debt to the Iron Bank and Tycho agreeing to grant new loans to Stannis. Anyway, back to the missed opportunity. Instead of Kevan sending his good father to Braavos, he should have pressed harder on getting help from Myr. In the writing of this scene, I think Martin mentions Magisters in Pentos so that you think of Magister Illyrio. In this context, when I think of Illyrio, I think of the Golden Company. And remember, the Golden Company just broke a contract with Myr. You know where I'm going with this. The old enemy of my enemy thing? In a way, Myr and the small council could have done to the Golden Company the same thing that the Iron Bank and Stannis are doing to them. Unfortunately for the small council, it's only in hindsight that the reader can put this all together. None of the council members know anything about the current relationship between the Golden Company and Myr. Well, one of them might know, but we'll talk about that in a later video. Getting back to the scene, This meeting starts to get a little heated. When Kevan tells Swift that he might have to travel to Braavos and speak to the bankers in person, Swift gets a little butthurt. He tries to tell them that the crown's debt is not his fault, which is true. But then he makes a smart-ass comment about Maidenpool and Dragonstone, and this sets the Lord Hand off.
If that fails, you may well need to go to Braavos to treat with the Iron Bank yourself. Sir Harry's quailed. Must I? You are the Master of Coin, Lord Randall said sharply. I am. The puff of white hair at the end of Swift's chin quivered in outrage. Must I remind my lord, this trouble is not of my doing, and not all of us have had the opportunity to refill our coffers with the plunder of Maidenpool and Dragonstone. I resent your implications, Swift, Mace Tyrell said, bristling. No wealth was found on Dragonstone, I promise you. My son's men have searched every inch of that damp and dreary island, and turned up not so much as a single gemstone or speck of gold, nor any sign of this fabled hoard of dragon eggs. He doubted very much that Loras Tyrell had searched every inch of that ancient stronghold. The Valyrians had raised it, after all their work stank of sorcery. And Sir Loras was young, prone to all the rash judgments of youth, and had been grievously wounded storming the castle besides. But it would not do to remind Tyrell that his favourite son was fallible. If there was wealth on Dragonstone, Stannis would have found it.
We see how quickly Lord Mace jumps on Swift about Dragonstone. He swears that Sir Loras's men have looked all over the place with no wealth to be found, and definitely no dragon eggs. Kevan doubts this because Dragonstone was made by the Valyrians, implying that there's probably secret rooms and all that other kind of stuff. And since Loras is young, he'd probably overlook certain things, not searching carefully enough. Sir Kevan doesn't make a big deal about this because he doesn't want to upset Mace since Loras was badly wounded on Dragonstone. I'm not gonna get into the debate on whether Loras is really on his deathbed or not. I just want to point out, if you noticed, Swift didn't just say Dragonstone, he also said Maidenpool. You want to say nothing was found on Dragonstone? Okay, but what about Maidenpool? Lord Randall sacked the town, locked its lord up in a tower, and married his son Dickon to Mootin's daughter. What I'm getting at is Sir Kevan and the Lords Randall and Mace most likely all have more than enough gold to pay off Tommen's debts, or at least contribute. I mean, that's who's really in debt, right? King Tommen? Lord Mace is his good father, Kevan is his uncle. Pay off the kid's cell phone bill, even if that cell phone bill is 6 million gold dragons. Casterly Rock does sit on a literal gold mine. These guys are seriously greedy, I have to say. Though, with winter coming, sellswords and exiled lords at your shores, as well as 2 upcoming trials, you can understand why these guys are so hesitant to help the crown when helping themselves might be the only way to keep their houses afloat. And with that, I'm going to end part 2 here. In part 3, we'll talk about the upcoming trials, including Cersei's mysterious champion, the new Kingsguard, Robert Strong. Then later, we'll head to dinner with Sir Kevan and his niece, as well as the king. Thanks for watching. As always, share, like, and subscribe to stay updated, and be the first to watch newly uploaded videos.